As you guys know, the Tory party have officially lost control of sensible governance in this country. On the other hand, the Labour Party are completely distracted with their own infighting and are destroying themselves, all thanks to Sadiq Khan's obsession with ULEZ. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the ultra-low emission zones expansion. Earlier today, we reported that it has not been a smooth launch for Sadiq Khan because he's losing all the cameras and the signs are all over the place and the local councils are continuing to rebel. It's fascinating, but there is a civil war emerging and erupting inside the Labour Party, all because of this ULEZ expansion and all the other net zero policies, because Keir Starmer wants to keep everybody happy and he's losing support from all sides. Firstly, this sad idiot Khan mayor, who obviously has not been listening to any of the concerns in London, even though he goes on James O'Brien's show on LBC repeatedly saying, I always listen to the concerns of the public, but I will ignore them, basically, because it doesn't really do anything about it. Now, the so-called concerns are now coming from his own party. There are people in the GLA, Greater London Authority, and City Hall, and some of them are making a move against Sadiq Khan. There are people inside the parliamentary party, Labour parliamentary party, who are now speaking out against him and his policy. And don't get me started with the grassroots, the membership of the Labour Party. So firstly, we got Justin Madders, one of the MPs, Labour, saying Sadiq needs to be listening to some of the callers that you've been having on LBC and how it's affecting them, and think about whether this really is the right time to be going ahead with the ULEZ expansion and everything else. It makes a good point. I mean, they're still very soft on it, but Justin said, we know that there is a massive cost of living crisis at the moment, and asking people to shell out thousands to buy a new vehicle that will pay £12.50 every day to go on the road is just as expensive, an expense too much at this time. Yes, he does make a good point, but again, they're not really strong enough when it comes to their opposition. So we also have Andy McDonald, a lot of you are familiar with him, from the Labour Party, saying, well, poor air quality causing premature deaths and the existential crisis of global warming means urgent action is needed. Oh dear. He also says, but the costs should not be borne on by working people. It's up to government to come up with alternative fiscal solutions. This is the most idiotic statement ever. So technically, Andy McDonald is against Sadiq Khan's ULEZ expansion because it says, well, you're putting the cost to sort out global boiling and everything else on people, working people. We should ask the government to pay for it. Andy, do you know where the government get their money from? Yes, well done. Working people. It takes their money, tax, to treasury, and then spend it. The government doesn't have its own money. So it doesn't matter if you directly take it from people or not. In fact, if you take it indirectly, it will be even more unfair. Because there will be some people living in a village in Yorkshire paying for the ULEZ that's supposed to be in London that doesn't actually affect them. It makes even less sense than the actual ULEZ charge. Oh, the Labour Party. Oh, the Labour Party. Now, let's think about the political parties, the political spectrum, and the support and opposition when it comes to this policy, ULEZ. The proportion of voters in favour of ULEZ. This is interesting. So, the darker blue is strongly support, then blue one is somewhat support, the grey is don't know and everything else, and obviously strongly opposed is red. Now, let's look at each party first, because the majority all are strongly opposed. The Labour Party, interestingly enough, the strongly support and strongly oppose are quite similar, but somewhat support is higher than somewhat oppose. But it's not really a full majority either, as you can see. There's a huge chunk that in the middle that say don't know. I don't know what that means, don't know, in this question. The Conservatives, the Tory members, Tory supporters and voters, that's kind of obvious. The strongest opposed section is massive. Then you've got strongly opposed. Then again, you have a small chunk saying don't know. I'm not really sure why. But you have like 4%, 3%, no, 5% saying strongly support. I'm not really sure what sort of Tory they are. And we've got the Liberal Democrats who are not even actually strongly supportive of this either. But this continues because we've got the leader of the Thurrock Council in Essex, Andrew Jeffreys, telling the Telegraph that this row over sign placements, because the ULEZ signs have been very vague, could make the rules unenforceable. While Richard Roberts, the leader of Hertfordshire County Council, has been warning of a new tax border and said that yesterday, Tuesday, would be a sorry day when a very, very unfair scheme picks on those least able to pay. We got John Speller, who is a former Labour Transport Minister, calling for the expansion to be paused to allow a reset in policy at the Department for Transport and everything else. And so that continues. This row continues inside the Labour Party and outside. And then we got Keir Starmer. Get this. Keir Starmer has voiced concern about the cost, the impact of the ULEZ expansion, but he has not explicitly called for it to be delayed or scrapped. This is classic Keir. He's voiced concerns. Guys, this is concerning. We need to readdress this situation. But I'm not really asking for it to be delayed or scrapped. I don't really want to upset any people, any side. You are literally standing in the middle of the road. You're going to hit by both sides, as usual. So, Keir Starmer, please, for the love of God, just try to have some sort of set of values, have some sort of political conviction, and at least we know where we stand with you. Even if you're going to be a supporter of net zero and ULEZ, just say it. We know you are. Just say it so we know where we stand with you. Please, I'm begging you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to share the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.